Yeah, maybe don't do that because it's not going live. All right, we are live now. I think we're live, aren't we, Christy? You're over there. I have a lovely guest today. I have a team member here with the HR Advantage. Thank you so much. And Erin, we'll give it a few minutes just to allow some people to join. And thank you so much for joining me today on Thursday, the 17th, after a long weekend. I never know what day it is post-long weekend. There you go.
The turkey talking.
The turkey talking. How was your Thanksgiving, Erin?
It was good. It's good, busy. Couple family events as always, so bounced around, pretty busy, but
there
good.
You go.
Got a cold too, so I apologize.
You're a little nasally. No, we're fine.
Nasally, so.
There you go. But a good Thanksgiving. It was beautiful weather for the weekend where we are, and yeah, it was a great weekend. I think a lot of people were outside for it. So I'm just letting a few more people join on because we normally get going around 12:05. So we'll let people tune in. Some people are chewing food and having their lunch at their desk. So if you're joining during a lunch hour, thank you so much. Erin and I really appreciate it, and the HR Advantage team as well. So I am going to go slowly into it just so that we don't go past the 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time that we've advertised. And again, thank you everybody for joining us for Industry Innovators with Erin Brown from the Compass team. And today we're going to be talking about building trust in a tight-knit community and what that looks like for all working professionals, but more specifically, Erin himself. And we're going to get right into it. Is that good for you, Erin?
Sounds lovely.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get going. That's myself and you in there. Again, my name is Mackenzie Henniger, and I'm the owner of HR Advantage. We're based in Alberta, but we work with a multitude of different businesses across the provinces of BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. And our team, a few of us are here today in the building that we have in Fort Macleod, Alberta. And funny enough, Erin, you're upstairs in our co-working building.
Upstairs.
You're right above me somewhere. So there you go.
I'll be yelling loudly. You might be able to hear me twice. Yeah.
There you go. So you're in Fort Macleod, and we'll get a bit more into who you are as a person. But most specifically, you are also a real estate agent, and you're much more than that. You have a lot going on, and we'll do a little bit more of an introduction, but you work with the Compass team. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we, as always, give away a $25 Amazon gift card. So this is for anybody who tunes in. So we have smaller groups usually for local items, and this means it gives you a chance. All you have to do is interact, sign on, give us a chat, say hi. That's what matters. And I'm really, really excited to be able to have some awesome conversations today, and hopefully somebody in the chat or the listeners get that $25 gift card. So we award that right after the webinar. I just send you over an email. We do a random generator. So all you have to do is stay on or interact on the chat. So please do that today. And now we get to go into a bit more of what we're going to talk about, but most specific, oh my goodness, specifically, we're going to meet Erin, who you are, your background, why you chose the Compass team to work with. And then we're going to talk about the more important items of our community, building our relationships, how that's been for you on both sides of the positive, negative, and what you're changing as a real estate agent. And just again, the communication side, connections within the community, how you can do that, and not always with monetary donations and items, just how you can integrate your services and build that community transparency. After that, we're going to talk about technology. And just before you went upstairs to your office, we were talking about technology and all these other cool initiatives. And I'm really excited to let people know about them. And lastly, just some engagement and questions and answers. So Industry Innovators is everything about basically what's working for people and how we can then translate that to other business owners and let them know that they're not alone. They can also utilize these tools and resources, and I'm really excited to talk with you today, Erin. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to let you do your elevator pitch of who is Erin Brown. For those who are tuning in, I see Erin quite a lot in the community. He has a family that are actually relatively close to where I live, so I do see him zipping down the road with his kids. But Erin, maybe you could introduce who you are, just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Like the screen says, my name is Erin Brown, for those who don't know. I'm pretty popular in Fort Macleod, so hopefully you do know me. I'm just kidding. I did not grow up here. Yeah. My wife did, okay. But I've been living here for about 7 years. I think I've been in town now. Not always as a real estate agent, yep. But I like all things outdoors. I like working in a job, obviously, with people. So that's why I chose to be a real estate agent. But yeah, I love little Fort McLeod here. Never thought I'd live here. It's a super awesome central location, so close to everything. And my family's a little bit more towards the mountains. So yeah, I don't know what else there is to say, but yeah, I got a couple kids. I got a 3-year-old and a pretty new baby, only a handful of months old. So juggling the work life and the family life and all the other life things can be fun. But yeah.
And then just a little bit of a, I guess, personal side. So your spouse has lived and grew up in Fort McLeod, but you haven't, as you spoke to. And so then how long have you been a real estate agent for?
This would be 3.5 years, I guess it's probably been now. So enough time to figure it out a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there's
enough to defy the odds.
Yeah. And a lot to learn about, again, just the region, how to gain that transparency and the community of Fort McLeod. And if you're tuning in from not Fort McLeod, where we're just under a 4,000 population if you count the outside kind of community of the municipal district. Smaller, very 90s style in our town, in the fact that you know all your neighbors, and you don't really see that in those huge city centers like Calgary. And so our community is quite transparent in the fact that everybody, if there's something, or if the local moose is in town, it's posted on the social media pages. Like, we do have a very, I guess, more communicative town than others, and it does feel like the 90s. I can run across the street and get eggs from my neighbor, and they're amazing. And it goes the same with the business community. You support the businesses, but that's not always as easy for individuals who are professionals coming into the community. So that's why you're here today and talking about what you're doing to kind of approach a smaller community that doesn't know who you are and your full background. So again, thank you so much, Aaron. This is going to be great to do some awesome, meaningful conversations.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super honored to be on the podcast too. Maybe I should have said that. I did start my business in Lethbridge, which is only about 25-30 minutes outside or away from Fort McLeod. So it's still where we do a lot of business as a team. As far as the Compass team, I am a co-owner of the team. Was on my own for a few years, a couple of years, I guess. Been under a year now since I've been on the team, but it's it's going to be fun I'm still learning lots of stuff, and I'm definitely don't have all the answers, but I'm trying to figure out how to make it all happen. So.
Right. There you go. Well, I'm really glad that you've chosen to live and work in Fort McLeod, and with real estate, it's all over the place. It's not usually just in one central location. You could be in another distant community. I just saw that you posted in Raymond as well, but the importance of trust in a small community, and even just going into, like I spoke to, another community like Raymond, Lethbridge, Fort McLeod, Claresholm, it can be difficult if people don't know who you are. So when I'm thinking about the importance of trust in a community, when I think of services from banking, heck, even a gas station, you go based on who you trust, you understand what they're doing in a community, and that can be so hard for a brand new working professional, say like yourself as a real estate agent, or even myself as a human resource professional, to break through and have people want to actually utilize your services. So what would you say, based on your experiences in the last 3.5 years as a real estate agent, what has been that key focus for you of building that trust in the community? How have you broken through to that side?
Yeah, I think, and I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit there. Word of mouth is such a powerful thing for small businesses and in cities as well, right? But you're seeing that, like you said, right? The Mama Moose in Fort McLeod posts on the page. Everyone knows about it. So everyone's always talking. Whether you like it or not in a small town, everyone's going to know everyone's business. That's partially why I love a small town and raising kids in a small town. Now starting a business in a small town, word of mouth is that kind of power foundation block, right? You need to do a good job. You need to bring immense value. And you need to make sure that word of mouth is a good thing, not a bad thing working against you, right? So whether it's Fort McLeod or any small community, I think that word of mouth is probably one of the biggest things. And being established as a presence in the town, right? Being amongst the town, being involved in the town, trying to make a difference and supporting those local businesses. And in turn, they're going to turn around and support you as well, right? You're going to have reviews. We've talked about testimonials, which I'm sure we'll get into on the tech side of things a little bit as well.
Right.
And referrals. Like my business runs a lot on referrals as well, right? The more business you do, the longer you're in it, the more you're going to have that referral business. If I help you, you're going to help me. Right.
And so you spoke on helping and supporting other small businesses. But again, as a brand new working professional, say you relocate into a brand new community, for example, Fort Macleod, just because of the relative nature of where we both are currently, it can be really hard to say, okay, I'm going to go spend X amount of dollars in those small businesses. That's not always feasible for even working professionals that have a well-established business and they're, again, relocating to a new community. So when it comes to trust looks different for everybody. Trust is based on our shared values. Do I see you at another community event? Maybe it's our kids are in the same class, you name it. That's how you build trust, is just on those comfort levels. So for you specifically as a professional, how or what other ways are you looking to build trust in a small town community? What kinds of things or initiatives or even activities are you attending to build that trust up?
Yeah, that's a great question. I try to attend lots of the local town events and be a part of them. I know we were doing the center series stage there for a while. With young kids, it's a little bit tough these days. But attending those shows, whether it's attending or as a business owner sponsoring, like you said, it doesn't always have to be financially.
Right.
But just being there, being a human, being available to talk to for people, right? Even answering questions, whether it's, they need the help now or 2 years down the road, just being available for people to bounce ideas off of at these events. And going to local events, like I said, is a great place to be available for people instead of just locked in your office, right in the building. So Taste of Fort Macleod, which recently happened this summer, is a great one. We had our big 150th Fort Macleod party this summer as well. And upcoming here this weekend, the Oktoberfest, I think we're having as well.
Yeah, so exactly.
I know I'm a part of that one as a business owner sponsoring, but I will be there as well just to kind of engage with people and just being around to hang out.
There you go. Well, and again, your team has done a lot of work on the tech side. We'll touch on that after, but the image that's on our screen that we're showing right now is the Taste of Fort Macleod. It can see anywhere between 500 to 1,000 people on our beautiful historical Main Street. We lucked out in 2024 with amazing weather. This was put on by the Chamber of Commerce group. Your team was there flying a drone, taking videos of why Fort Macleod is so awesome. Not only can you use that and translate it into your own business, but you're now being supportive of other initiatives. And so, yes, you did sponsorship in that event, and you touched on it a little bit of just getting out there, and it doesn't have to be monetary. I think so much of where we, again, build trust is how I can see you, how I know you're dedicating your time. So if it's with families or sport, or maybe you're focusing on different initiatives within your business, that you gear your volunteership through that. And so specifically, you're giving back into the community by all these awesome videos and promoting the tourism sector. But then on the other side is you're volunteering your time at an Oktoberfest event on Saturday. Even if you're giving monetary or not, that's how you're going to build trust up, is by being transparent within your own community. So you, again, are at the fun events. How do you think a person could build the trust when, say, they have kids? So you have younger kids. Your kids are not in the school systems yet, but what kinds of other initiatives would you be wanting to focus on to build that trust up?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter just started dance this week as well, so it's fun to fun to get her into some things. That's something Fort Macleod seems to be really growing on, is opportunities for kids that aren't even in school age yet. Right. Which is really good. So it's fun to be in there and mingle with other parents. But that is something I know you and I have talked about even recently, is just what events can I get into, or what can I support to make a difference in the community, right? Whether that's monetary or not. I love Fort Macleod. It's where I choose to live my life and raise my family. So I want the best for Fort Macleod, for my business, but also just as a quality of life, right? So that's something I'm constantly trying to learn and navigate as well, is to figure out where can I make the most amount of difference is just even being a human being in Fort Macleod, right? And I think that's important when you talk about transparency in business as a small business owner, is people just want you to be a person. At the end of the day, like if you can sit in front of them or have a conversation and just find out their whys and their questions and how to maybe help them figure out some solutions, it doesn't need to be fancy all the time, right? It just has to be an easy, heartfelt conversation and just being there for them. So.
There you go. Well,
build trust.
I'm glad you're in all of these awesome events, and they are very family focused as well. And I know that is an initiative when you're trying to find a person a beautiful home to live in or even relocate. And so you're at all the right events. And I think it's so important when we're utilizing this, even in a replay in the future, of just letting people know that, and especially as business ownership, you don't have to say yes to everything when you're building up that trust, because I think it's so easy to get wrapped up in everybody needs help everywhere you go. It doesn't matter if you're a huge city center like Calgary, Lethbridge, everyone in every group and every community organization loves help, loves the volunteers. So really focus and own in on where is that energy that you can spend your time. Like you said, you have young kids, you can't always do everything. You can't always be gone every evening and weekend. So focus every year of what can you support, where can you volunteer your time and energy, and then you'll build your trust from there. So.
Absolutely. I can't wait until my kids are in like school age, because my dream is to like coach sports and stuff.
Oh, so I love that. Okay, Coach Aaron, real estate agent on the side. He'll be selling houses as you're running along the sidelines trying to wrangle in kids. No, I love that. Again, thank you so much for all you've done in our community where we live. But for future business owners going into other communities, that's where you can start. Just get out and volunteer. Ask who needs help. Everyone needs help. There's a lot to do. So I'd like to hit more of, and we're using a lot of the fun, beautiful photos. So for people listening on Aaron's cool new video, but the no trust side is a big one where I find a lot of business owners, as soon as they break the trust, it's so hard. So you could be a well-established business owner or a service provider in a town, and if a person has a sour taste, it turns to a very distrust environment very fast for those people, and it's very hard to build it up. How have you experienced that level, or I guess maybe just uncertainty of who you are as a person when you're trying to say, hey, utilize me as a realtor, or I'd love to chat? Have you ever experienced that? I wouldn't use the word backlash, but just the hesitation to say, yeah, let's work together. How has that been for you in the past few years?
Yeah, I think in Fort Macleod, like I haven't really experienced any negativity, but that's the hardest thing about not being born and bred here in Fort Macleod. It's the hardest thing to break into, right? It's not that they don't have trust, but maybe you have a realtor or a team or whatever that's been practicing real estate in a small community for decades and decades and decades. So it's really hard to get that shift from people when they've been using the same guy for 20 years. And you know, that's totally fine, but you have to bring something to the table in terms of value in a smaller market. In Lethbridge, right, there's like 400 realtors. So there's people, you know, using 17 different realtors probably over a number of years, but in a small town, it's the same small handful of folks, right? So it's not so much the no trust, it's breaking into the trust, just getting a change, right? So where I could see no trust coming is when I did move to the brokerage I'm at now. So right, how real estate works is usually under a brokerage, and then maybe there's a team. The brokerage we're under, which if you think about it like a big umbrella, is called Real Broker. It's a North American cloud brokerage, they call it. And it's actually based in the States. Alberta was the first province in Canada to take on the brokerage. In all of Canada, Lethbridge was the first place to come. So I got in pretty early, 2.5 years ago, I guess it would have been. There was only 20 people in all of Canada with Real, and I was like the first under 20, me and my 3 colleagues. So there was some no trust there, right? It's new. People aren't sure. Oh, you're not Century 21. Oh, you're not, you know, Remax or whatever it is. There isn't a name there behind. So that's where you have to kind of show, okay, I'm a person. I live here. I grew up here. This is what I can do for you. Here's what the competition is. Let's make an informed decision together, right? But that's where the importance of, you know, really laying out what you can offer the clients, I think, is where your trust is going to come from. And in a small town, same kind of thing, I think, with the right kind of marketing. But again, don't get a lot of chances if you get something wrong, like you're saying, to leave that bitter taste in someone's mouth. If you do mess up, it's going to be a long road back in a small town, possibly, right? Yeah, and I think we just see, and such great points, Aaron, but we just see it under a very microscopic lens when we're in a smaller community versus, again, a city center where you could have a poor relationship with a service provider or a realtor, and it doesn't necessarily affect your business because you have
a very saturated market of customers, competitors everywhere. When you're in a small town or the demographics of where we live in a rural community in Southern Alberta, you just see it so much faster and it spreads so much faster, which is such a hard environment to grow your business, to be able to say, hey, I want to be here. Didn't have a good relationship with this one customer or individual, but I can still help so many more people. So it's about understanding that trust. And again, I spoke to it about focusing on where you want to put your time and energy, because that also can break trust, where you dedicate time and energy, or maybe you say, hey, I'm going to help in this initiative this year because I just want to get into the community, break in and do everything, but you can't sustain that. And that's even where trust can get broken. So where you're talking on, you didn't necessarily experience the no trust, but all these other aspects is so important for business owners to understand that, yeah, you can go anywhere. You can go to a different gas station. You can go to a different grocery provider. You can go to a different hardware store. But it's about the branding and the piece and how it makes me feel as a customer walking in to why I want to work with you. And so I think you've done some really great initiatives in I would say even the past year, and joining this brokerage of just what you want to see when a person's looking to sell their home and how you're marketing it. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but a lot of people get into this rut where they have the no trust relationship and they go, how do I get out of it? And it's not always monetary. It's about really aligning your focuses and goals as a business owner, and then just really driving that home and staying consistent with it. And so I think you've done a great job. I keep talking about that. I could be your cheerleader because I didn't grow up in this small town either. I lived in Calgary, Alberta, where, again, I didn't know my neighbors on a street that I lived on for 10 years. Everyone shut their door and went in, and
they don't want to know you.
Yeah, they don't. At the Taste of Fort Macleod, you could be walking around, your kids could be having a temper tantrum and getting their face painted 2 minutes later. And it's just like community. You just feel we're all there for each other. We all struggle together. But it does happen, and you get that sense of community by being out there and seeing it yourself. So, no, I am so glad we're talking about this, because it seems to be a reoccurring theme when I'm working with businesses of just how do they bridge, next slide here, but just how do you have those personal connections? And so a lot of the time people, when they're looking at personal connections, it's again, our comfort level. So maybe it's our families, our neighbors going out for a walk every week, and they're seeing each other, they're having those conversations. What other ways have you found personal connections? I know, and I'm going to speak to it, but you're an active individual. And when I say active, you go on a treadmill, you are on our trails, but how have you built personal connections based on the things that you personally like, and not just as a realtor? Obviously you want to hit families, you want to hit the demographics that want to move into a community and utilize you for that service. But what other ways have you tied personal connections and built those?
Yeah, I think through sports and activity growing up, very active, both my parents being very active, it's kind of what I'm always drawn to. So whether it's going to the gym or running, or, going to my daughter's dance or my nephew's baseball game or whatever it is, I'm always looking to attend something like that, as I'm passionate about it. So it's easy for me to go attend. And there's like-minded individuals as well, right? So I know I'm part of other couple groups of, just real estate groups even, or running clubs or whatever it is. So I think that's kind of the key behind any personal connection, is you got to have a passion for it, right? So whether it's your job, whether it's, your hobbies, I like to hunt, I like to fish, I like to hike. So those are all things I'm always looking to try and integrate almost into my business. And when you meet people that are like that, it's really easy to get along and build that or foster that relationship and personal connection without trying too hard, right? It's just very natural. You're not trying to force anything. So through its online groups, Instagram, or just even through my family, right? My wife's side, especially being so rooted in Fort Macleod, is really nice to lean on some of those connections as well, right? As I'm sure you know with your husband and roots around the area as well. So. Exactly.
Again, I came into this community, no one knew who I was, and I guess I infiltrated myself to do everything I loved. I wanted to know the resources in my community. That's my background in human resources. So I went and joined a community service board, and I wanted to see the best for kids. So I joined a preschool board. But not everyone has that time and energy. So it's about being, again, consistent, staying true to what your values are. And I wanted to hit on a really fun, important note that I actually had a team member internally at the HR Advantage say about yourself, Aaron, is they followed you and they said, I love his running videos because he's always like, happy Monday. And you're out literally running. I would be out of breath. A brisk walk for me is enough in my evenings with another coworker in town. But you, even just by inadvertently being yourself and showcasing the transparency of who you are as a human being, has created a really awesome connection. Like a person feels that connection just by what you're posting on social media. And we've become that digital age now where that's where people are gaining the trust, is what they're seeing, it's what they're flowing through and swiping after 11 seconds of a video. But that's how they're building that trust. It's basically what they're putting on their feed and their comfort levels. And if they're seeing Aaron, they're more likely to reach out or talk to you in the community or use you for a realtor opportunity. And
that's a really great point. Yeah.
So keep up with those running videos. They're fun.
I'll try. I'm getting pretty tired, but
okay. It's getting a little cold.
I think that's a really great point. I mean, people like to see your successes or your story or your business or whatever it is, but people really just want to see who you are, right? Can they vibe with you? What's your day-to-day look like? And I mean, with a grain of salt, right? Social media, as we've discussed too in ourselves, right, can be a deceitful lie at times, but it is a really great way, if you're using it in the right way, to just get yourself out there and be true to yourself, right? If you're not, it's going to come back to bite you eventually, right? You can't keep it up forever. So no
one can sustain the social media growth and the expectations of what's changing for business owners of, okay, now you need to post testimonials. Okay, now you need videos. Okay, now you need this. Oh, actually short form content for 10 seconds is better. And so where the personal connections can start is just by being who you are, showing yourself as a business owner or as a family member, or again, all those values behind your business and you as a person are so important. And another really great thing, you're in a purple shirt. Whenever the Compass team's in town, I know you're in town because purple walking around means you guys are filming video content. You're maybe showcasing a home or the community. So I brand and know Compass team now by your purple shirts. But a really fun item that I heard about from my internal team member was she was in her community at a skating group for her son. She happened to wear her HR Advantage shirt because she wears it when she's having team meetings on Zoom. And all these people were asking about HR Advantage, and she didn't even mean to wear it. She had a cardigan on over top, but then people saw it and started asking her about it. So sometimes it's about wearing your logo and just going out, because then people have a conversation starter of they've never talked to Aaron, but now they can say, oh, what's the Compass
purple
team?
Shirt, goofy looking guy.
Yeah.
That's a funny story. I actually, that's such a funny story. Purple's like not my jam. I'm not even like in love with purple, but you just proved the point that it's noticeable, right? It stands out. No one else uses purple. So whether I like it or not, it works in getting your image out there, right? And that's building that brand awareness, which is important. So.
Again, you guys were walking down the road in our town, all filming, getting footage of why you love Fort McLeod. I saw all these purple shirts walking by and I said, come into my building. You guys went on our roof and filmed a video. And purple, you stood out. I was either very concerned or maybe it was like some new fandemonium for Ghostbusters at the Empress and you guys were all coming to film. Like we see some very unique individuals in our community. We're very big on, obviously, and you are aware, movies, but you guys were out and I knew who you were. So now if people are in our communities or you see these purple guys, they're okay. They're fun. They're good. So I'm glad you have changed to purple, but now there's your purple shirt. But how fun is this? What is this called? That is that stock image at the beginning of a YouTube video. Thumbnail. It's a thumbnail. Thank you. For my brain can never remember with everything tech and how do you keep up as a business?
I barely do either. We have people for that. So.
You have great people.
Amazing people.
Again, your breakthrough into our community and what I've heard, again, this is from, and I've messaged you at 10 o'clock at night being like, somebody just told me about your Fort McLeod video and they loved it. And you're like, oh, cool. Thanks for letting me know. But this is how you bridge yourself. So this isn't Fort McLeod in our community, but this is Southbrook. So this is in Lethbridge. Yeah. And so what are you guys doing to market yourself differently? And I'm specifically referencing these fun thumbnails, but as well as your videos in communities. What are you doing that's mainly your focus?
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on it, people's their attention spans, right? They're maybe a little short these days. So People don't like to read too much. People don't even like to watch too much.
Right.
But it depends what platform you're on, and we'll get into it, I guess, with the tech talk, right? The biggest thing, and there's a handful in Lethbridge that are doing video well, but in a small town community, very, very few. So whether we're doing it in Lethbridge and Fort Macleod, specific neighborhoods like Southbrook, which is a neighborhood just in the south of Lethbridge, video is so invaluable because we can pull, ads out of it for short form. We can make social media, or we can do a longer format video like this, kind of showcasing the entire community of that neighborhood. So if there's a lot of people moving here from Vancouver, Ontario area in the last couple of years specifically, video is the best way to reach people because of that attention span. And it goes back to them getting to know you, right? It's just like being out in the community or posting myself running on social media. It's a way that people watch these videos, and eventually, if you have like 20, 30 of them, they're going to go down that rabbit hole watching. And by the end of it, they feel like they know you, and yet I've never talked to this person once in my life, right? But yet they call me up or they text me and they go, hey, hey, that was a great video. Let's have a chit chat. And so they're really great for exposure, brand building, but also getting connected with people that are looking for homes, selling or buying.
Exactly. So. Well, again, your branding's really great right now. The team over at Compass is awesome. And more specifically, like we've spoke on, you can go to another realtor in a big city or even in a small town community where we have some amazing realtors. I love that competitive market where there's other service providers, but you guys are changing it up and you're really focusing on that tech side where everybody's on their phone now. Everybody loves that doom scroll, but I see Compass now all the time, if it's not podcasting, showcasing a community, or even a home. And you guys are doing outstanding, not only photography, but video work. And that can sell a home really fast. And yes, it's a great real estate market right now, but that's awesome. That's only building future connections for years to come, like you spoke on.
Yeah, and those videos will do great for a long time. But on that communication, right, if we're sitting down with a seller or even as a buyer, right, that's something we can offer, like, hey, look, especially in a small community where it isn't being happened or not happening, I should say. With our brokerage being North America wide, we have apps too where we can push listings out, not like way out, not even local, like over into Ontario, into BC. Cool. We can push these videos to it. So the amount of marketing exposure and eyes we can get on compared to a lot of competition is substantial. So when it comes to that transparency and that communication to a seller looking to sell their largest asset, right? It can be invaluable. Okay, here's what you're going to get from this person. Here's what we can give you. The cost is no different. This is something that we truly believe people should have in their corner when they're selling their homes, right?
Yeah, and growing your service and gravitating to, again, what the digital age is looking for. I don't even know if I'm using the right words of digital age, but just everybody is on some sort of platform or social content platform, to my knowledge, or they're hearing about things, or they're even being shown something, even if they don't want a phone, because we're in a small community where some people refuse to get a phone because they just don't want that life, which we're 2024, people are utilizing it. But going into, again, just this Southbrook and items that we're seeing, again, we are seeing homes specifically. People are relocating without even physically walking into the home. So your guys's, I guess, niche and focus and supporting on that digital platform side is amazing. And you're building transparency. Like I said, and I spoke to earlier, I had a random person say, oh yeah, that video of those realtors, like they didn't know your name, but they knew you guys were realtors. You were walking and you were talking about the community. And that's what's getting people to move, and having that economic development in communities and, again, larger cities is showing all the social side of why you want to be there or why you want to support or even relocate to put your business there. For instance, you're a realtor, but oh my goodness, if there's a person in the city of Calgary who's struggling as a plumber or something like that, they can move to a small town community and probably be very successful if they are branded, they build the trust, and they have a sustainable business where they're calling people back and getting to their home right away. We have such a need right now for all these service providers, especially in small rural communities where people are retiring. They don't have people planning. And again, you're just a huge piece of that by showing them why they want to move into that community. So you're doing a great work. It's just lining it up for everybody to get to where they want to live. It's Lethbridge, Raymond, Fort Macleod. So I am excited to see all the videos that you guys come out with. I know you have a few more for Fort Macleod coming. There you go. So leveraging technology. This is a fun one. You guys did a more of a podcast series, but you're talking about homes and giving a bit more of that education tool. And I think that's another piece where when you're trusting the service provider, say you've lived in a home and you're now ready to sell and you don't know anything about what it looks like for the market. Again, you might just trust that person that said, hey, go and utilize that realtor or that service provider or that lawyer because you've heard about it. So what are things that you're trying to push on the tech side? So not just homes, but what other education pieces are you trying to bring to you as a service provider?
Yeah, we are compiling, I think they're almost finished. We're just kind of revising them, but we do have a buyer guide and a seller guide, which I think is going to be pretty great for people, even for the aspect of people trying to sell their own home, right? That's a big topic in our industry, right? As we call them FSBOs, for sale by owners.
Okay.
But these seller guides, little acronym there for you.
Yeah.
We're providing these to people even on our websites. I don't know if they are live yet. I'll have to double check that. But especially a seller guide. If you are looking to sell your home, maybe you don't want to use a realtor, that's fine. But it's going to take you step by step, kind of some points and tips and hacks of what we do, right, to optimize selling your home, or at least getting it ready, right? You're not going to have as many resources or tools to get the exposure, but in the sense of getting your home ready, what renovations to do, whatever it is, right? So giving these guides to people just free online is just kind of like an in-house thing that we're doing. But as far as technology, and I kind of touched on the last point, being a part of the brokerage we are in, being able to reach out so wide just outside of Southern Alberta is really big as well, especially for an expensive home, say, where you're looking at $1 million or something like that, where the buyer might not be here. Getting those ads pushed out or getting it sent out on our workplace apps and everything to the GTA area or BC, Vancouver area to attract those buyers through referral systems is invaluable, along with the videography and photography. Lots of realtors are going to take some pictures of your home, throw it on MLS, and that's about it. Right? So having print media, we try to do social, digital, hard print media like door hangers, even targeted campaigns with like mailboxes and stuff like that. So we try to integrated marketing, right? So traditional, social, and digital marketing. We try to integrate the whole 9 yards through our team. So.
Yeah. And again, you're using tech in a positive way as well with just education and those user guides that you just spoke on. I find as a service provider, you see so much more now where, here's your bill, you're done. And you guys are also, again, just taking that route where you're using technology to then further educate people, because maybe they're done that relationship with you. They've moved, they're out of the community, but it's how then they are then sharing that organic social media material, which is you guys talking about houses in Calgary, but you are obviously servicing the market in Lethbridge and area. So again, leveraging technology for the right reasons. You're not just going at it in a sales pitchy way of buy this home, look at it. Anybody can go on realtor.ca and see a person's house. Like I love looking at homes that I will never buy. That is a guilty pleasure. I love looking at homes and having my spouse come in and go, "Are you leaving me?" And I go, "No." I love seeing houses. I love seeing, specifically in our town, we're very much heritage town of beautiful heritage buildings. And when you move into a home, there's so much historical value to them sometimes. And other times we're in a brand new subdivision. Like we have so many great opportunities right now. And again, that technology side and what you're doing is just so great. And you can do the realtor.ca, but you guys are doing so much more than that. You're giving back to the industry. Yeah.
And even with clients, right? I'm sure with your business, you use one, right? CRM is the acronym, but it's a customer relationship management tool, basically, right? And through our CRM tool, where we have all our leads and all our clients and everything, we have, you can put certain tags under clients that will then sign them up for like an email campaign that will be, whether it's we've had them as a client and, continue to help them after the fact, or even, I've had clients where these systems are in place where, it's been 2 years they've been in my system and they loved the content they were getting. It's not overwhelming. It's not like calling them every day or smashing them with content where they're just getting overwhelmed. And 2 years goes by and they finally call and say, hey, I've appreciated so much that you've just been like constantly, you know, in touch and checking up, whether it's sending properties or whatever it is, little tips or anything like that. And then, you know, 2 years goes by, but it's handy for sure. So whether it's a client now or a client 10 years from now.
Exactly. I think as service providers, or if you could be a trades service provider, but having a social media presence where, again, people will say, I don't know this plumber or this electrician or this group. They look at your socials, they see your reviews first off with Google, or they're actually going back and now they're scrolling and going, oh, I really like Aaron's content. And it could be from 2021. However, that's where we're building sometimes the trust without actually having that physical presence and connection or conversation on the street. And so very much, and I do like that point of what you've said, you might have a person, say, following you, but they don't utilize you as a realtor for 2 to 3 years or even 10 years time. The same goes for us in HR Advantage. So many times do we post something and then we get a person connecting with us and going, I'm having that same fire, help me. Like, we're in a very reactive environment, but so is real estate. And so I think it would be such a great thing for business owners to not be afraid of social media. Knowing the focuses first is always very important. You don't want to just get on there and start posting willy-nilly, because that's also very dangerous. But you guys have such a great strategy going on right now with utilizing technology. So I'm glad you're doing it. I could, every end of each slide, I'm always going, go team. But I really do love what the Compass team is doing. And it's specifically for our community. You're showcasing it so well. So I hope more people want to move just from your videos. And so I'm literally going right into question and answer. We've had a smaller group of people today, but I know there's a lot of local groups and individuals coming on. So what kind of questions that we didn't touch on, Aaron, do you think that people are having right now when they're saying, hey, should I utilize Aaron as a service provider? What kind of questions are they asking when they're meeting with you for the first time? Say they go with another realtor a week from now. What are they asking when they're coming to talk to you to say, okay, you're in their home, you're looking and making recommendations? What kind of questions are they asking you?
Like, obviously the big one's always price, right? With people, they're looking.
How much are you going to take from me?
How much are you going to charge me? And how much are you going to sell my home for? Right? And I think in a small community, it matters a lot what you're going to list your home for, because you have a smaller buyer pool, right? And, but those are the big questions. What are you going to sell my home for? What are you going to charge me? And what do I need to maybe do before we put my house on market, right? Is there anything you see walking around? Is there any big things I need to take care of? Any aesthetic things I need to take care of? So really, honestly, in Southern Alberta, and I'll just say on average, like the standard commission to list a place is 4%. That's the standard. So it's when we sign a listing, 4% would be 2% to the listing agent, and we give 2% away to the buy agent. So it's 4% totally. Sellers always pay the buy side realtor's commission, right? So slice it anyway. The buyer's buying the property and the commission's being paid up. Like, you could whatever, right? But so 4% on average. But in some brokerages, whether you're working, maybe agents have a little bit of flexibility. You have discount brokerages who will do it for less. But I would say, okay, if you charging 2% for the whole deal, keeping one, giving one away, how much are you actually getting reinvested into marketing your property, right? So there's a ton of ways you could go as a seller, truly. The biggest question is, what's your difference going to be towards this guy? What are you going to give me, and what are they going to give me? That's the biggest thing, right? So, and that's honestly, I'm a huge advocate for whether you're buying a house or selling a house, interview your realtor. Like, ask them hard questions. Ask them, how much money is it going to cost me? What are you going to do for me? What should I be doing? What's the first step I should be doing? Like, ask them some hardball questions. Get to know them. Go for coffee. Go for lunch. Whatever it takes. But this is, if you're buying or selling a house, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a pretty big deal.
It's something that you're so emotionally connected to, right? And the same for HR side at HR Advantage. We are working with business to business usually. And so directly for them, it's how we're representing their business, how we're going in and how we are essentially saying, Compass team hires us for HR Advantage work. we are the Compass team when we're carrying out our work. Even if we're a subcontractor or you yourself as a service provider, as a realtor, it's how are you representing me? How are you showcasing my home? How are you showcasing your services? And so I'm really glad you do say that, of interviewing your service providers, interviewing your realtors. You do not have to go with the same person every single time. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to have competition. It's okay to say, no, this is a better suited for this now, or this episode of my life is to work with Aaron versus Mackenzie. I'm not a realtor, but maybe there's a reason why, and understanding that it's okay to have and build new trust and new relationships within a community, a tight-knit community, but asking those questions to people. And you're allowed to do that in the market.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad that you're doing things again, just on the other side of education first, because that's where you're building trust, where people want to say, hey, come check out my home or come check out my business to sell. That's where people are going, okay, now I can further interview him because I've seen the social media side. I've seen what he's just sold within above asking price, that you just sold something in Lethbridge. And so again, it's okay to be questioned. It's okay to build the trust. It's okay to not be chosen as the realtor, but that's where you're going to start building trust. And sometimes it is rejection, and sometimes it is changing your services or your route of your business. But you have to start somewhere. You can't just think that you're going to move into a brand new community and everyone's just going to go, yep, Aaron's the new realtor, work with him, no one else. Don't worry about the other ones that have been here for 20 plus years. It is about doing the work as well as a service provider, but staying true to your values and what you want for your business, because then that's where you can sustain or scale your business, right? And so
I strive for the question. Like that's where I shine. Like, get me in front of someone. That's what I want. Like,
you are the best.
Ask me the questions. Let me sit down with you. Let me show you the difference of proper marketing, or let me show you the difference of like a truly fun experience, right? It doesn't have to be buying and selling. Always going to have some stress. But let's like have some fun. Let's do it right. And let's like, make it look really good for you, where you want to like brag and show your friends how good your house looks, or brag and show your friends the new house you're getting, right? So
or this is all staged furniture. This is not us. We do not live like this, but Aaron did a great job. I had a really good question come from Christy. Is it normal for potential clients to ask for references when working with, say, your industry, like real estate?
Sure. I mean, I've had it before. I wouldn't say it's common, but yeah, I mean, that's totally, and I mean, that's, I think, where like Google business pages are handy, or even our website reviews and all that kind of stuff, where you can see actual client reviews. I know you guys do similar thing, and we've talked on maybe even doing video testimonials and stuff too, right? Which is even more valuable. But yeah, I think like as a client, potential client, that's a perfectly fair question. I have had that happen before, and I've directed to reviews, and I've even had a client that actually I just finished with this lady, but reach out to someone else saying like, this was such a great experience.
Okay,
awesome. It was like so sweet. She's like the sweetest old little lady.
I love it. But again, it leaves that lasting impression, or it starts that word of mouth chain, and that is how you can grow your business in smaller, or again, rural, remote communities. And same for Christy's question there. And I love to give this feedback to business owners. So I'm a service provider as HR Advantage. You can choose to work with me. You can choose to fire me. That you have every right to do that in a service contract relationship. However, and the direction we've taken at HR Advantage, and I was so scared at first of, do I disclose my clientele? Are people going to go and try to pitch them? And then I went, no, I know my quality of services. I know what I'm providing my clients. They have a very black and white relationship with me if they want me to change direction or service route. And I know that. So we've taken a direction at HR Advantage of posting and broadcasting our clients. We put them, we want people to be proud to say, look at the successes of our clients. And likewise to you, look at the successes of selling their home above listing in less than 6 hours situations. Like, you want people to know these are great things. And so we've taken the approach, we are going full transparency. You can utilize our references directly on our website. Go and check out our clients, call them. They have the time to talk. They like talking on the phone all day long. I don't have time to display myself all the time, fight for myself, gain the trust. And so we've taken the approach internally at HR Advantage to broadcast our clients, and it's been really great. And I think in real estate, you guys have that where you can have a physical home behind you going sold. We don't necessarily have that when we're working with businesses or people. So we've taken that approach. It's been successful. I was so scared at first.
Sure. Yeah, it's a big step for sure.
Again, there's competitors out there, but I have taken the approach as a contractor and same with real estate. You can go and choose anyone else. What makes you different, right?
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, and that's where you stand behind your work, right? Like if you are confident that you are the best and you are so confident what you're offering, then you're not worried about it. And the clients are so happy they're willing to do it and brag about it. And that's your best foot forward, right?
Exactly. And again, you can go anywhere, you can choose anyone. It's about that relationship and the connection that you build. So that was our kind of wrap up of questions and items that I wanted to talk about, but I did want to touch a base, and I'll go to my next slide here, but just about who you are, how people can connect to you. So you are like a passing ship in the night in our building. You are always on the road. You're always going to clients. You're always, seriously, your seat is never warm. Like you're gone. You're out there.
I rent this beautiful office that I love so much, even though
like never
I've had some criticism on the bareness of the walls in here.
We do need to get you some plants. We need to get you some plants. But how can people reach out to you? Because I love the Compass team that you're not aggressively poaching people and incessantly bugging them. So how could a person reach out to you? You're in Fort Macleod when you can be in Fort Macleod, but you're every community. So how could people get a hold of you best?
Yeah, I mean, you got some info there up on the screen. My name, the website's good. Even if you Google me, I should pop up with my phone number as well. If you have that, you can look me up on Instagram. I think it's like Aaron Brown Realtor, Aaron Brown. Realtor.
We got to get that handle, that Instagram handle down. Got to be on it.
I think it's aaronbrown.realtor. Anyways, message me, call me, go to the website, check out some homes. But yeah, we should be message on our videos, whatever it is. It shouldn't be hard to find. Everything's public, which is a blessing and a curse at the same time. So I should not be a hard man to reach. Part of the curse of the job is having my phone on me all the time. So should be easy to reach. I'm always happy to have a conversation at the least, or coffee on me at the least. And
there you go. Come have coffee, chat about why you should be buying instead of renting, and there's opportunities out there. So I'm so glad people can reach out to you, Aaron. And again, thank you so much, because it's very difficult, these kinds of things, and bridging and I guess breaking through into a new community. You're doing an excellent job, and I can't boast enough about all the things that you guys are doing at the Compass team. And utilize Aaron. He's awesome. And go and have a conversation with him. Join him at the gym. He's very motivating. I have yet to get to the gym. So we're going on 10 years. We're going on 10 years. One day, Aaron. But thank you so much. Again, it's really awesome to have you on Industry Innovators. And if anything, I hope that people get the opportunity to meet you in our community and see you out at all the things that you're doing. And thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I'm super happy to be here.
There you go. Well, everybody, thank you again for joining Industry Innovators. You can catch this replay on our website afterwards. And if not, go and check out Aaron on YouTube. Type in Aaron and Fort Macleod and watch the awesome video of why you should move to our community. And thank you again. Awesome. Have a great one. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Kenzie.
Bye. Bye, everyone.